Are you ready to find out how to fully train your virtual assistant? In this video, I'm going to dive through a few of the ways that we train our virtual assistants at 2XU and how you can do it for yourself as you're getting started with your assistant. Now, the very first thing is to go ahead and start creating your own SOPs. And what I mean by this is creating your standard procedures ahead or even with your assistant is going to be a key thing to training them well. Just because your assistant has had 5-10 years experience being an assistant themselves doesn't mean that they'll understand and know what to do with your business, with what you do, especially if they don't have direct experience within your industry. That's why you want to spend a little bit of time going through the processes of how things happen in your business. You can even start all the way from how you do the marketing, how you close the clients, how you deliver essentially your product or your service, all the way to offboarding or ongoing support for that client. Is you want to make sure that there is some sort of way for your assistant to learn things right off the bat. This could just be literally you doing like a video walkthrough of how you're doing the task currently. It doesn't have to be this big thing. As long as you have some sort of material that'll be easier for the assistant to be able to follow later. You don't have to make this all fancy. The assistant themselves can later on create it into an actual document that someone else can follow. But the point here is to make sure that for your own kind of safety as well, is you're documenting how things are before your assistant started. So then later on, as they get better and better at what it is that they do, at least you know where the basics were before they even joined. Next is you want to start actually really identifying the needed skills that they need to be better at. So let's say that you hired someone to handle your social media and your content, and they already have experience on social media and your content. So then let's say that they don't have experience on like email or calendar management for your business. Then you want to identify what those skills are that they do need further support on versus just giving them a pile of things or training that they might not need because they do have the experience on it already. So you want to slowly go through with your assistant of like, hey, rate yourself from 1 to 10. How good are you on this skill? How much support or training do you need on this? So like, hey, have you directly done this? So you're able to really focus and have your assistant be working on or training or upskilling themselves on the right things rather than again training them on something they probably already know and don't need that training on versus like things that will directly be the things that they're working on as they start working with you. Next is as you've already created or started creating your SOPs, you've identified what skills that they need support on or basically the things that they need to get better at, is you want to start with the basics. So what I mean by this is walking them through about what your business is, who the target market is, what's currently the goals that you're trying to create, especially hit with them. What are your origin story, kind of giving them the basics in the background of what the business is. That way for them, they can also make sure that they adjust their own expectations, their own kind of recall any past experiences they have with a client similar like you, so then they can also have the background and the context of what it's going to be like to work with you. Now, this might be something that's covered a little bit more on the interview, hopefully, portion, but you also want to give them like, hey, here's a refresher about the company, here's what we do, here's what we try to do in the world, basically. This is why our company makes sense, this is how our company makes money. So walking them through the products and the services of the business as well. So again, the main point of this is to give them context. You're training them not just on their skills, but you're training them on the business too. Next is you want to go ahead and build your key performance indicators with your assistant. That way you are able to fully have kind of backed up data on how they're doing, how they can do better, and what skills they further need support in. And this is especially key in training them because let's say that your assistant is not new. Let's say they've been working with you for 6 months to a year and there's this new tool or new skill that you want them to be trained up on. And this is kind of where having KPIs or having a data of like, hey, this month I want to make sure that we master LinkedIn content marketing. Let's say that's the main goal, right? So then if that is kind of the case, you're able to really measure and give them feedback of like, hey, we didn't actually get to this goal. Like, hey, actually we needed to refine it a little bit better. So then for them, when it comes to their training, they know where to focus on themselves as they are aware of where basically they're going within the business and where the business wants to go. Next is you want to choose the platform where they will probably be getting more of their courses and basically also how to track the training that they've also gone through. For us at 2XU, we use a tool called Notion, where basically we have kind of a step-by-step process of different kinds of virtual assistants we work with and what training they should go through. And it's basically a mix of books and courses resources and audio notes or whatever it is that we found in the last half decade of running the business, and basically kind of having a way for the assistant to be able to say, yep, I've gone through this is what I've done. And on top of that, we also have an induction process that we have them go through on Teachable, because then it kind of is us walking them through versus them later on kind of watching the videos as more of a background thing. So then they have the context of what it is that we're talking about in that induction process. So that's what I mean by choosing a platform, is choosing where you want to have your assistant know what they're supposed to be training in, as well as a good way for you to track of what they've already gone through. Which brings me to my next thing, is basically making sure that you're training and testing them. So you're tracking what they're doing, what they're focused on, and as you're training them on the different tasks, how you're doing a certain task, if it seems overwhelming, just hop on a Zoom call with them and just go ahead and walk them through how you're currently doing it. And then later on, as they're doing it themselves, you can give them feedback, you can correct them. That's what I mean by testing. As for example, you're teaching them how to manage your email, and there's going to be a lot of mistakes, there's going to be a lot of skips, mostly because it's going to be their first time, but you're training and testing them at the same time to make sure that you're not hand-holding them, to make sure that they don't feel like, oh, my client has to be here online before I start doing this. You want to get to the point where they're just doing things on their own. So that's what I mean by training test, is you want to train them and then test them right away, whatever it is that you just trained them on, so then they can understand and build that confidence basically to be able to do this task. Next is, of course, give feedback. Give them kind of the feedback that they need, so then you're not just doing it on your own, because if you keep seeing their mistakes and fixing it on your own and not giving them the feedback that they need, they will keep making that mistake. You want to get to the point where, again, they're building that confidence to do this task better and better every single time, and then they are able to even push forward new ways of doing this task because they've gained that confidence. So giving feedback, and there's a really, really good book that I love, and I've recommended this a lot on this channel, which basically is the 1 Minute Manager series, where it teaches you how to give a 1 minute praise. Don't forget to praise them if they're doing really well, and also how to give a 1 minute redirect, where when the moment that you catch, basically don't wait for any time, the moment that you catch that they did something wrong or they missed a step, you give them that redirect, so that for them, they can easily align themselves, especially if they're still on that training phase and not 6 months later when you've been seeing that they've been making the mistake, hoping that they're going to self-correct. But in reality, if they don't know what they're doing wrong, if you're accepting this, that is now their kind of level. That's their standard. This is how I'm doing it, versus like your standard is right here. You have to get them to the point where they can match your standard and even, of course, exceed it. And that comes from giving them really good feedback. Don't skip it. Don't just like, oh, they'll figure it out. Give them feedback, especially in the beginning as they're learning that skill. Next is give them guidelines of what's acceptable and what's not within the business. Again, they could have had a bajillion years of experience, but it's going to be different when it comes to working with you. So giving them guidelines of like, hey, this is how we communicate in the business. Of like, hey, this is how fast turnaround I need. Of like, hey, can you go ahead and make sure that we are updating our policies or guidelines because we've now found this hitch. Now, every single time as you iterate, as you work with them, there's going to be new standards and new ways that you guys want to work together, and you want to make sure that you document and update it as much as you can, so then not just for your own current assistant is bleeding over other assistants, other hires in the future. You're able to kind of really document and have kind of a system that you can replicate through other people as well. Next is finding mentors for your assistant. If they're stuck on a skill, if they're stuck on a problem that they haven't been able to figure out, find them mentors that they can work with, that they can kind of problem solve with. If you're not the one who is the expert on it, there's going to be consultants and coaches and other people that they can probably tap. Or you can also have them watch a lot of my YouTube videos, because I do cover a lot of these topics as well. But basically the main point of this is you want to encourage them to self-learn. And that's basically the last bit of this, is you want to make sure that you are not limiting or having them hit a ceiling of what they can learn, what they can do. You want to make sure that you are encouraging, like, oh yeah, what do you think we can do here to make it better? Or like, oh yeah, what can we, what tool can we add on here? Can you go ahead and do that research? You're teaching them and you're training them basically on continuously growing themselves. And you do this by, again, making sure that you are aware of what they need to be training in, giving them that space and tracking them, testing them, giving them that feedback, and again, encouraging them to do it all over again. Training your virtual assistant doesn't have to be this stressful big thing. And even if you have to train someone all over again, it doesn't have to be something that takes up a lot of your time. You can set it up where it's something that's already up there, that's already set as a system for them. So it's easier for you to train the next person, and then that next person trains the next person, and the next person trains the next person. It becomes kind of this kind of good domino effect where it takes less and less of your time because you did put in a lot of your time at the beginning. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any questions you might have on training your virtual assistant. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to build business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!